Okay, let's talk about the vicious cycle, what I call the vicious cycle of weight loss, why people get so stuck in it, trapped in it, and then we will go on to how to break out of it. So, to get straight into it, we start with what I call the motivational moment of self-reflection. And this is where, for whatever reason, and most of the time, it's just either you're looking in the mirror, or you're feeling a certain way where you feel rubbish, or your energy levels are low, or you just sort of had a period of unhealthy weight gain for so long that you kind of just, you're eating one day and you just feel like, this has got to stop. I've got to get, I can't keep going like this. And this is where, and the reason why it's the moment of, motivational moment of self-reflection, this is where your motivation is highest to now start doing something about it. And this is kind of the start of the cycle, because in that moment you make a decision to change the way that you are, to lose weight, get healthier, get fitter, to no longer live like this. So then what happens is you go out and you obviously look for some help in that. It might be that you're purchasing a program. It might be that you're joining something, Weight Watchers, Slimming World, whatever. It may be that you start taking medication, whatever it is. You're going to start trying something to lose weight. And usually, especially if this is a cycle that you've repeated multiple times, usually that is something that is relatively extreme, i.e. gets you quick results. You look at something online which says, 90 days you can be, X amount, lose X amount, or like you see a before and after which just looks incredible and you think that's what I want. Or a medication that promises really, really impressive results, and so you think, now's the time to do this. I want to be slim by summer or holiday or whatever, and so you jump into it. And what happens with any of those diets is the first couple of weeks are great, and we reach this peak of what I call scale success, where you get really good results for the first couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. You're losing weight, the scales are reflecting that, the scales are showing that the pounds or kilos are down. You can notice it, and you feel like the diet is relatively sustainable. Like whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's a diet program or a diet and exercise combination, usually 2 weeks in, you think, I can do this. This is doable. It's food that you are able to eat. You don't have really like hunger cravings. You're not miserable. You're not starving. You think, this is doable. I'm doing this. Oh my God, I'm going to be, and you extrapolate, like based on how much I've lost in the last couple of weeks, in 6 more weeks, 8 more weeks, 10 more weeks, whatever it may be, I'm going to hit my goals without easily. And then we have this massive drop. And this usually happens between weeks, either 2 to 5 or 3 to 5. So normally, if you've kept it up, if you manage to keep it up, a lot of people will fall off on this point, or this point will come earlier than that. But this sort of trough, this valley, is what I call the Hunger Games, because this is where you get to the point where you are at your highest level, or you're miserable, you're frustrated, and you are hungry. Because most of the time, any sort of weight loss, that first couple of weeks has no effect on your body, but once your body starts recognizing continuous weight loss, it starts fighting back, and this is where you enter in the Hunger Games, because the body fights back by reducing the amount of energy that you burn. It fights back by increasing your hunger hormones, so you start feeling hungrier easier, and it also increases cravings and things like that. Like the hormonal response to losing weight is to try and get you back to the weight that you were, and it does that in any which way you can. So normally you lose weight by trying to burn more than you intake, that's the only way you lose weight, and you do that by trying to exert more energy and intake less, those two things. And so your body will fight against that by reversing those two things. It will make you burn less energy, so you'll become more efficient, and you will, which sounds like a good thing, but it's not, because you don't burn as much energy when you're efficient. So you won't move around as much, you'll become sluggish, tired. And the second thing is that it will also increase your hunger, so it'll want you to eat more. And that's when you get into this valley. So from 2-3 weeks ago, when you thought that this is amazing, you've now gone to, I can't keep doing this. I don't feel great. And usually, because a lot of the times that the diets that you pick, a lot of the times they're extreme, and so extreme diets, they do end up making you feel miserable. You're usually eating foods that you don't really enjoy, or you are restricting yourself from a lot of foods that you enjoy, and so you lose the hedonic aspect, i.e. hedonic meaning the enjoyment aspect, the pleasure aspect of eating and living and being sociable and all the other things that come with enjoying sort of the food that you eat, and so you lose that as well, and that makes you even more miserable. And so here is the point where most people will give up, because the weight loss slows down or plateaus, combined with the misery, frustration, and hunger, and you think, this is not worth doing, this doesn't work for me. And then, even if you try and carry it on, you end up in this, what I call binge and blame buffet, which is where you start eating, even if you want to keep the diet going, you can't resist the intense hunger that your body craves, and so you just start eating more food. And you start eating more food, and you're still kind of like wrestling with it. Like, I'm trying to do this diet, but now I'm like not doing it as much, and I'm breaking it more, and you're feeling guilty about it because you're meant to be doing the diet, but you're not keeping it up, and you enter into this sort of like shame cycle where you're feeling like, oh, I'm not really doing the diet. And then it's easy to blame yourself, because you think, well, I'm not doing the diet, and that's why the diet's not working. That's why I'm gaining weight, because I'm not doing the diet. Rather than thinking this diet isn't actually sustainable, like it was a terrible, like no one should have come up with this diet and sold me this diet in the first place, you won't think of it like that. You'll think of it as, my willpower doesn't allow me to continue this diet. And so when you start breaking it and failing at it multiple days a week, you then think, and that's why the weight is creeping back up. So you start blaming yourself, and then you think, I can't do this, I'm really bad at it, and you end up in this sort of like blame, shaming cycle. And that's when most people will then just give up and say, well, this isn't working for me, I'm not losing weight, I'm kind of half in, half out, this isn't for me, I can't keep this up. And this could really just be anything. This could be like a low carb diet, a keto diet, it could be you join something, it could really be anything. Anything that's relatively extreme will do this. And usually, like I said, the more cycles you do, the more extreme people get. So that's where you end up. And then you have the rebound weight gain. So now you've given it up. You're like, I forget this, I'm not doing this anymore. And you want the happiness back. So you now start eating the foods you enjoy again, you go back to the habits that you were doing before, you start moving, exercising less if you were exercising hard on the diet. You start going out socially, eating out more, eating rich foods more, just enjoying your life again, eating foods again. The weight comes back on like it never left, or usually with a vengeance. If you didn't do exercise when you were doing the diet, you would have lost fat and muscle, and now you're just going to regain fat. So if you lost muscle and now you regain fat, you actually end up in a worse position than you started. And so most people then end up over a period of regaining bad habits, eating how they used to, they end up back where they started, in some cases even worse off when they started. And then some time will pass, and guess what? We're back at the beginning of the cycle. Something will click again. I can't keep doing this. I've regained all the weight, I'm feeling out of shape, I feel rubbish, my joints hurt, whatever it may be. Motivational moment of self-reflection comes back again, and we end up right back at the start of the cycle. And this cycle, I've spoken to so many people who want to lose weight who are trapped in this exact cycle, and they keep going round and round and round and round and round. And it's only until you can break through this cycle and actually lose weight and then continue maintaining that weight loss for a long period of time that you can break free of it. And that's what the next video is going to be about. If you can't do that, or rather, if you don't do that, you will. If you don't learn that skill, and it's going to hurt a little bit, because there is going to be a learning curve where you learn how to break free from this cycle, and that's going to take time. And that's where we have to accept that to break free of this cycle, we need to give ourselves time and implement some of the things, that fundamentals of weight loss and maintaining weight loss that we need to implement, and that's going to take time. But once you do that, it's one of those things where it then becomes not extremely easy, much easier to never get back into the cycle again. It's almost like developing a technology. Once you start doing something that a new technology, let's say, back when we used to have, you have to go to the store, let's say, to get DVDs, or you had to get a CD to listen to music. Once you get Netflix and Spotify, you can't convince that person to go physically out and buy a CD to listen to one song. They just won't do it. And it's kind of the same way. Once you teach yourself to level up to the new technology of your own learning and body and weight loss, once you've done that, you will know how to avoid getting back into the cycle again and again and again. But I don't want to make the video too long. So that's the cycle. If this resonates with you, if this is something that you feel like you are always trapped in, then head on to the next video. We're going to do how to break out this cycle and go through the fundamentals of weight loss and why we need to take some time, and what things we need to learn. So we'll cover that and how to break out of it. But if this resonates with you, if this is something that you think that you've been trapped in or you're stuck in, leave a comment. Tell me exactly where you are in the cycle, or how many times you feel like you've been in this cycle, and I will see you all very soon.